Again, standardize your clients or customers' experience for how you're helping them.
And the one thing too, it's a vertical funnel, right? Again, so an experience, instead of using my example, I'll use one of my favorite examples, which was a nutritionist, like a formally trained 6-year master degree, dietitian who was giving people boring, horrible, traditional, meal plans. And I said, well, here's the problem. That'd be like me just sending you out, my Millionaire Maker book with no extra support around it. Here's the book. Good luck. And so there's no support. I said, you have to coach. You've got to come up with some group calls. They got to have a place to have a conversation with you. I said, but more importantly, most people have never been trained to even food prep or cook with healthy things like tofu or any of those other, So I said, where does the problem start? Just same with like what I talk about your debt. Where does your debt start? Your debt's not a debt problem. Your debt's an income problem because you don't have enough to make money. If you knew how to make money, you still use your credit cards, but you pay them off every month. So let's get to the root of the problem. So the top of her funnel, it actually was a bunch of education, but the bottom of her funnel, it was a total immersion. Like, fly me to your house. We'll start in your kitchen. We're going to give a bunch of food away. We're going to either, food plan before I come in to get rid of it, or you're going to give it to a food bank. Like, there'll be no cheating, right? And so then I'm going to take you to a grocery store, a health food store, and show you how to properly buy things. Instead of buying processed food, how you buy healthy food. Store, a health food store, and show you how to properly buy things instead of buying processed food, how you buy. We got a refurb there. We went live to, just so you know, so we went live to invite more people that have known about us to come and join us for the afternoon, because we really want a big marketplace for you. So back to her story. So then she took them out shopping, and then she took them back, and she, took them over to the store to buy all the things you got to cook with. Like in today's day and age, I'm sure she was probably getting everybody food, air fryers. And the reason I mentioned that is because the other thing she did for revenues became an affiliate of the product she recommends that they cook with. So now she has a cooking, like a whole line of just food cooking things that she gets paid on by referring those products. So now she has that food, like that line. Then she would teach them how to cook it. And then she would put them on the meal plan that, came from how they actually lived their life. And now you can change their life. And she stayed for several days with the family, and, from breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks, all that stuff. And then the kids were involved. The whole family's involved. So again, if you're going to solve a problem, solve the damn problem. Right. Like, it just drives me crazy that you're going to consult. Like, I have this one guy, still drives me crazy. And Thomas, you and I have talked to him many times because he wants me to endorse him. And I said, I can't. Because you're the guy who comes in, and his promise is, I'm going to come in, I'm going to tell you the top 100 things that are wrong with your company. Well, shit, it doesn't take long for me to do that. Thomas, Andrew, Steve, and I could sit down for 2.2 seconds and tell you 100 things that we could improve upon. We don't need to pay a consultant to tell our problems about. Like, that's cute, but it isn't going to happen. So if you're going to solve a problem and vertically do it. So like, if you buy all my books and come to our online event, you're going to want to come here. If you want to come here, you're going to want to continue to figure out how to live corporate life. And that's in coaching, right? And then head of the table coaching is when you actually add me for another ticket up to your ranks, where I'm actually also your private coach. So what's the problem you're solving, and how do you put it in an organized structure that you're solving the full problem? Now, take one out of my playbook. Do I solve all the problems? No. In the beginning, I did. And then you'll get exhausted. So I'm like, why do I need to keep worrying about, not worrying, but understanding 81,000 pages of tax code? That's a group of CPAs. So I have a whole affiliate, I have a whole relationship to a group of very highly trained CPAs that are coordinated with us, bookkeepers, credit repair. So you could have all these people in your wellness world, in your functional medicine world, for some of you that are out there, just so I'm speaking to you, right? Melissa, as you, and I'll just talk to you, as you come as a teen entrepreneur, I already have a lot of that content. So you'd be an affiliate of mine, and you add some of yours. So what's the problem you're solving, and what's the experience the client needs to have to get it done right? And that's why when we said done for you marketing, we're tired of you getting your video over here, your photographs over here, copy over here, and you still don't know how to put it together. It's the same problem. So solve problems completely. Now let's go to the next slide. And actually, do we have, top of funnel. So these are my next two favorites, and then I'm gonna let Thomas take it away for a little while on what do you put in them. Because again, like Randy said, we're agnostic. We don't care about the what, we care about the money. So if you go to the next slide, Steve, these are my two favorite of the afternoon. Is who are you? Whoever's out there, click the button. There we go. So these are really this is how quick it can go. And so just decide right now, you can change your mind tomorrow. And it's also why we keep the marketplace open through tomorrow, is because you might do something today and then start fulfilling. By the way, the faster you fulfill, the faster you're going to get another sale from a client. So what are you an expert in? What are you selling? What are your prices? The number of units you sell times your price equals your revenue goal. So let's go to the next slide and show you what you were going to ask you to do. Right? So if you wanted $10,000, click one more time. If you wanted $10,500 a month, then this would be a model. So again, why I want you to go print off a bunch of these is I want you to play with numbers. Just grab an old-fashioned calculator or your phone and say, all right, I want 20,000 a month. Well, what do you have to sell? Not the thing, the money. So you're going to need something for $25. This is just an example. You could use $10. But in this model, for 40, you have to sell 40 units for $25 and you make $1,000 on that thing. So that would be like saying, I need to sell 40 of these, right, in a month. So that means 10 a week, divide by 4, now divide by 5, that means 2 a day. That's our 2 a day model. So all I focus on, right, which the online marketing does this all for us, is we sell 2 a day all the time. We usually sell more like, I don't even know, Andrew knows the numbers. He's the one running that part of it. How many of these we sell exactly per day? And then, so you sell 2 a day. That's how you get up thinking, I'm going to get 21 leads and I'm going to sell 2 items at $25. And that's 40 in your month. Then of the 40, you're going to sell 10 people, 10 of those people, $250. This is like month 1. This is all possible month 1. It's not difficult. Then you got to sell only 3 $1,000 and only 1 $4,000. And then you just test it and you play with it. And that's what our coaching is like. Maybe the 250 is not selling well, so you drop it to 197, or maybe you're selling like hotcakes and you bring it up to 297. Like you got to play with your pricing based on what your clients are, the feedback you're getting. Like we didn't just arrive at 197 for Gen W. We tested those prices. We knew that for the value of 24 hours of training, because that's the content. You're going to be in class and in experience of designing a legacy book for about 24 hours. In total, you'll be there for about 50 hours. So you'll sleep for part of it, network for part of it, and eat and, get your plan done. So I don't care what the 25 is, but you have to play with what that is. So Thomas is going to talk about what that is, but I want to ask you, if you're all paying attention, what's the one thing that would more than double your monthly income? And if you've been around for a while, don't give it away to those that are brand new. And some of you've been around for a while and you still don't do it. What's the one thing that you could do and get easily more than double your 10,500?
Put your answer in the chat box. Let's see who figures it out here.
And you don't get on Thomas's calendar, you get on Steve's calendar. So Steve, you can go ahead and put your email back in. You're going to get on Steve's. You get Thomas when you become a client for coaching. Not a big list, not a roller 401k, none of that. I'm talking about this. You're looking just at this slide. What's the one thing that you have to do? You're going to sell 2 a day at 25, right? Then the next week, right? Or then during that week, you're going to sell, that's only 10 a month, and that's 3 a month, and it's only 1 a month. What's the one thing you have to sell more? No, you have to raise your prices. It's all like right in front of you. You have to do one more thing, one more week. For 3 weeks, you sell 3, 4,000. So you sell, instead of 1 a month at 4,000, you sell 1 a week at 4,000. And now you're at $22,500. So you have to imagine, from a coaching perspective, when we hear you say you can't make money, you're either not marketing, bringing in enough leads, which is why we want you to do the done for you, right? So we can just help you get leads. There's easily, you can get 21 new leads, but you got to do some work. You have to do some social posting, and we'll give you a blueprint. Like we post, what do you think, Thomas and Steve, like what, 2 to 3, 4 times a day on all my channels? I have a whole, I have a whole team. I just shot, I don't even know how many videos, dozen more videos just to add to more social channels. And then next week we'll go away for a whole day to shoot the next month of all my YouTube. So, I mean, it's a machine. This isn't like, oh, I just get up and I'm in the mood. I don't really give a crap what mood I'm in next Wednesday. I have a video crew ready for me, and I have to be on camera by 11 o'clock, 10:30, 11 o'clock. And it's not really an option. I mean, I also want to rebook everybody. So I think a lot of you're running emotionally when you want to work and when you want to do it, versus let the system run, which means you have to be a part of it in whatever way you want to be a part of it. And for me, I'm the content. I'm the talent, call it. And these guys do all the pushing of the buttons. I don't even know how to push a PowerPoint button. I probably do, but I won't. And I do that intentionally because I think a lot of you keep doing things that get in the way of you being able to think and be more creative. So what's the thing you could sell? What are you really good at? What's the simplest thing that you could do right now to make 2 sales at $25 today? And then, keep going. And you got to imagine in 3 months time, you now have 120 buyers. So you just think of the 120 people, don't tell me you can't find one a week to buy a $4,000 item. Not with the system we're about to show you. That's easy. You just have to work the system. So Thomas, let's go to the next slide and talk about what could be in their funnel. And then I want you to really play with some numbers. Like some of you, I want you like Sherry, Karen, some of you I know, Dan, Paul, Erica, Kim, a lot of you, like, where's Melissa, Neil? You all, like, do $1 million at the top of that funnel and see how easy it is for you to get to $1 million in revenue. It's shocking. I think a lot of you put it as such a big audacious goal. It's not 100,000. You just do exactly what we just said and you'll make it.
Mm-hmm. So here's the thing that we want everyone to really focus on, right? We, in the previous slide with what we showed with Loral's funnel, there's obviously these different levels. But for the purposes of where you're at now, for the purpose of the workshop, we want you to focus on this top of funnel product and offer specifically for 2 reasons. The first is that your goal is to stop your prospects from shopping and stop them from shopping and get them buying with you, right? What you want to figure out is what can I do to stop them from looking around and have them engage in a transaction with me to where I can start building that trust. And so the purpose is we want to have these smaller, typically digital, but not always the case, offers or services that allow us to begin the conversation. And here's why, right? Let's use an example. Let's say there's 2 designers out there. We'll just call them Steve and Thomas, completely random names, okay? Let's say Lauren's trying to figure out about who she wants to work with for a website. Lauren talks to Thomas, and Thomas says, I can do this great $5,000 website for you. You're going to love it. It's going to be everything that you need. And I don't close the deal, right? And I just stop and I don't follow up with Lauren right then and there. I go away, then Lauren goes and talks to Steve and Steve says, I've got this great checklist you should check out. Everything you need to have before you build a website. It's only $10 and it's going to help you identify what you need to do moving forward. In that model, Lauren can buy that $10 product and then she has a web guy, right? She has someone who's her expert and he's starting to serve her. He's starting to provide solutions to the problem she has. In my situation, if I'm just giving someone a $5,000 product or service and I don't have anything at that low price point, I'm not stopping them from shopping and getting them into buying mode, right? So I want everyone to think about that example and think about what could I offer anywhere from the 10 to 50. We have 500 up here and that can work as well too. But think about what can I do that's at a low enough price point that the bigger benefit is people start knowing, liking, and trusting me than necessarily making a ton of money, okay? Now, I think for those of you who buy the replay, you'll have access to this, but we're going to go through these product ideas right now. But these are some of the things you'd be thinking about. So first and foremost, ebooks. Ebooks are a great tool that you can use as your, say, $10, $20, $30 offer that's going to start educating people as to how you can help them. But more importantly, it also, an ebook or a book acts as like the new business card, and it also has that aura of authenticity and expertise around it, right? If you have a book, if you have an ebook that's putting you ahead of your competition, gives you that good recognition and can help you make those additional sales, okay? So ebooks are a great tactic that you can use for your top of funnel offers. Checklists are also good for, as an example as well too, right? Checklists, 10 things you have to have before you build your website. Loral talked about the nutritionist earlier, right? 20 foods to have in your pantry at all times. A checklist can be a great way to, again, provide that expertise, but it's a fairly low development product, right? A lot of you are experts. A lot of you could easily come up with a checklist as a way to serve someone and start selling them. On top of that, how-to guides are really good. I'm seeing a lot of how-to video products that are out there now. So depending on how creative and how complete of a solution you can do, how-to guides would be good as well too. You also have the option of doing, say, webinars, mini master classes, or online course. So this is a little bit longer, a little bit more involved, a little bit more production, a little bit more time. But it's all, but again, the idea is the same. You're providing a window into your expertise. You're starting the solution or starting to give them an idea of how you'll be able to help them. And they're building that trust with you. They're building that rapport. You'll notice that everything we've talked about right now could be delivered digitally, right? Could be recorded digitally, can be produced digitally. There's a reason for that, right? You get something digital, it's your carrying costs are essentially, zero or very minimal. It also doesn't require you to manually process these orders or deliver it. And most importantly, because it's digital, it can be tied into keep and automatically delivered. So Steve can create the 10 things you have to have before you do done for you services checklist, have it automatically fulfilled from Keep. So if Steve's needing to take care of his kids, he's on a trip with Loral, or he's just up at Lake Tahoe, tuning out, doing his thing, his system is always working, right? It doesn't depend on him, and that's why those digital products are so good, especially at the top of the funnel. Now, some of you may not be coaches. Some of you may be more, say, information experts. You may be, anything from web designer, plumber. It doesn't matter. Same model applies here. You may need to do, say, one product, one service, or 1 hour of your time, and that's fine. Again, figure out what you can do, what can you package or offer, so that it's a low enough price point that people aren't necessarily worried about, I don't want to say wasting, but if they have a negative experience, that it's not the end of the world in that regard, right? Some of you can do strategy sessions. Some of you can do, initial trial services. Plumbers, they will do free quotes, things like that, get them in the door. Whatever it is, remember, the top of the funnel products are really designed, not so much, you want to make money, but they're more important to develop and start a conversation about how you're going to help them. Now, one quick note, because I know Loral wants to add something. She hopped on the video, so I know she got something here. The other thing to think about when it comes to the funnel, this product is something you're going to develop and you're going to come up with. Every other product and service, your buyers are actually going to affect or influence. Because here's what's going to happen. If Lauren's going to have that ebook, or Brittany's going to have that webinar, right? Once they buy, once they participate, then you're going to go back to that list of buyers and ask them, all right, hey, you just had this. What do you need next? Right? Or what's the next thing you'd be interested in? Or what do you think about this? Right? We might have some inferential ideas as to what the next product or service may be, but you want to have your buyers tell you what they're most interested in. I say this all the time, and then I'll let Loral pick it back up. Loral is one of the most conservative people I've met when it comes to making money. What I mean by that is Loral does not take risks. Loral will only move forward on a project if she already has people who want to buy it. What an idea, right? You're only moving if people are giving you money versus hoping and praying to God that you build something and that people are going to give you money for it.
Well, and I can go story, example after example. And and Thomas knows, because he sits down. So all my team knows. We were rigorous about it. It's not even a negotiation. Like when Randy, and I'll just go outside of our organization, when Randy and I came to him and Kelly Korshik, who's the most genius man in math and money, and he oversaw $600 billion of Deutsche Bank. So he's the gentleman who designed the iFlip algorithms behind the software. So it's not stock advice, but it's actually letting you invest into the market and crypto. So when crypto started really getting hot, I went to Randy and I said, Randy, we have to teach crypto. We have to be the leader in this. Mm-hmm. And Kelly has to do it. He's going to research like nobody's ever seen. Anyway, so we made up $1,000 course, literally made up $1,000 course, not $997, $1,000, just flat. And we were in a big table room. And actually we said, that the big table got it for $1,000. Everybody else was going to be sold 1,500 or 1,200 or something, but because you're in the table, you got a discount. And I think 21, 22 people bought it. So that's like $22,000. So then we walk over there with all this money and say, Kelly, look, we sold 22 people a course for $1,000 in crypto. It's now time for you to design it.
Yep.
And then we were an affiliate. So, I got 50, he got 50. And then of that 50, and then they went to their Keep account and their online, of which now they've even hired our team. Steve just, I don't know if you know that, Thomas, but Randy just hired our marketing team
nice.
to do iFlip marketing.
Nice.
But for all of you, like, then you get a page up, then you do an early bird discount and all that kind of stuff. And then you slowly design the thing because now you have money. So you're not launching poor, you're launching rich. Like our book, we sold, before this thing even was printed, we were past 10,000 units of sales. Mm-hmm. Then McGraw-Hill printed it, because then we could convince them that we needed 25,000 books printed. Because if you haven't realized by now, in this world of hardback books and 285 pages, do you think that people that are 40 and younger would like this big book? Or do they want an ebook and audiobook that don't count to bestseller list? So that's why we had to create the NFT and why we created the Gen W conference, is because we had to make this thing really, really, really sexy for people under 40 to buy a 285 page book versus wait to buy an ebook and audiobook. So do you think we know strategy? Oh my gosh, we have had to do the most odd things to get humans to do the things we need them to do to get our goal. And you're going to learn them. And it's not manipulative. It's not negative. It's all in service. If anything, they got more value out of a $25 book, by the way we ended up doing it, than any other book we've ever launched. There's so much given in this
by
book.
far. Yep.
And we love the content. So, but we're rigorous about it. So all of you, do not tell us you don't have something to sell. Yes, you do. You have a lot of stuff to sell. You can't, I mean, honestly, at this, if you're adding volume, I don't care. You can be an affiliate. You can sell, I don't know if Stacey, behind the scenes, Steve or Andrew, if you guys want to email Stacey Maynard, the way I do direct sales, because I'm in a lot of them, is one of my companies or several companies do it. And then I find a leader at the big table who loves the thing. So Stacey Maynard loves wine. So she'll do like a Wednesday wine, and then she'll pair it with chocolate or pair it with food. And so she does this cool course where you can pay her on how to pair wine and how to do wine tastings. And she does it all virtual and then sells wine. You can sell skincare. You can just sell something that's easy. I mean, I have a CBD if you want to sell a CBD. I don't care if you want to sell like this little CBD thing, like whatever you want to sell, make this easy today and tomorrow. You're just making some money so you can prove that you know how to do it. And if you're going to sell your time, and I noticed, Thomas, you did talk about that. If selling your time is the only thing in your funnel, that's a horrible model. That's trading your time, and it's the only thing you can do. But if you want to trade your time, like I've gone out because I wanted to make a whole bunch of money. And I said, I'm going to open up a block of my time and I'm going to sell it for a lot of money, like $30,000, $40,000. And I can make a whole bunch of money because I wanted to go buy something. I want to go buy an investment. So, I mean, any of you can turn these strategies on. There's not one of you that I couldn't coach you and Thomas could coach you to do a $25,000 weekend. And some folks that have been at our big table, like now they are doing their own summits because they're doing the same strategy we just taught them. They can do, I know one did 6 figures. Finally, it took a little while because she just wasn't used to pitching and selling out through Zoom and how to sell. But she did her own summit, 3 days, all in the wellness space, Canadian-based company, and did a 6-figure event. So you can do it. You just have to start clicking away at what do people want. And then Claudia, I don't think she's out here, but she was somebody the other day. So here's how we made some content, because she's a private client of mine. Is I got online, and I know, Thomas, you've done this for our clients too, and we've all have, is we interview you. So if you're an expert in something, right? And I'll actually offer that as a bonus when you sign and pay in full for the big table, like right now, is because it's my time that I have to interview you. But now you have an interview with me. Hers was so good, I actually podcasting it. So she will be live on a podcast. Which, Steve, when you do that, remember there's some editing out that's got to happen because of the way we did it. But now she's got a piece, and Steve taught her how to go over to Ref. So now we have an audio file. We didn't do video. She wasn't comfortable doing video yet. And then we went, now she's getting it transcribed. Now she'll have a report on how she helps people buy land and how you can invest in land and how land's a big deal and blah, blah, blah. And then this is when I pitched her and I said, so Claudia, tell me all about your coaching and mentoring program. She's like, I don't have one. So that's part of that's get edited out. And I said, you do today. So what is it? And you see, a lot of you, you need that extra push. You know it. It's all right here, but you think because you took 4 years to be an employee of something that you need 4 years to develop this stuff. It's right here. It just needs to come out of your mouth in a way that you can monetize it and put it in a package that somebody wants to buy from you. And thank God there's all this digital content because you can change it. If you don't like it, guess what? You hit delete and you do it again. Right. So do not print, do not print, do not go. I mean, inventors, if you're out there and you want to invent something, that is not a first company. It is a horrible idea for first company because you need a lot of capital to invent something. And you don't know a darn thing about marketing, sales, or cash flow. So don't start there. Start easy. Like I can promise you, like mine wasn't a strategic move to do Rich Dad Then My Own, but it became that. It became very clear. Like I saw the gaps in the industry. I saw the house. I knew how to build the team. And then I quit. Then I did my own. But I did that for almost 5 years before I did my own. So there's nothing less than about not going for being an influencer. I think so many people, don't you think, Thomas, how would you speak to that? I think so many people think, well, I have to become this amazing, because social media is such an interesting pressure point, cooker. I think you have to be that person. You can represent other people's stuff. That's why I love direct sales. Stacy does my wine, right? Another Stacy and another Sandy and a Muriel do my skincare. Like I have a whole team that they do all those things. I just say, hey, go get it, be in my team, and then they go do the work. So
you don't need, right? I was just going to say, anybody on this call does not need permission to go make some side hustle money, right? Like you need to change up your mindset. Now you can't go be a medical doctor. Obviously you have to go get, certification for that. But practically speaking, you don't need to wait around for someone to say, Brittany, you can go make some money doing this, or Lauren, you can go test this offer, right? What you all need to start understanding though, and we're going to get this with the next slide, is we want you to be entrepreneurs and resourceful and not engineers. Right? A lot of you come, I know I did. I came to this event as an engineer. Hey, I built this thing. Would you like to build this thing? Would you like to buy it? No one asked for it. What you want to do is figure out what do you need and then be resourceful and figure out how you're going to go make it happen. Now, Laurel had a great point there, right? Obviously, as you're starting out, if you need to sell your time, that's fine. But the end goal is that you're not doing any of the fulfillment. The end goal is that you have a business outside of you. Laurel traveled last month. She got to do a lot of amazing work with student athletes. Guess what? The entire team was still back there in the office, managing the machine, managing everything that was going on. Laurel had a business and it didn't fall apart when she left. You all need to be thinking about that at the same time. So here's the thing. And Laurel, when you want to, you go ahead and tell Steve we don't move forward on the slide, but the conversation about confirming cash flow, doing pre-sales, and understanding you can get the money first and fulfill second is going to be a big mind shift for a lot of you.
And behavior shift. You got to trust that you are, as Thomas said, resourceful and creative. So go to the next slide, Steve, because this is how you contract and manage cash. Is like, I don't move without money. I swear to God, we have to get those t-shirts for Gen W and sell them. Like I don't move without money. If somebody's not going to pay me because they say they want something, I'm not just going to go off and create something because I think you need it. I'm going to interview, I'm going to work with you, and then once I've sold it, then I'll go create it, hence the book. So that's a pre-order. So all of you can do a pre-order. Like I've had people literally, here's a great, Stefan Arnio. Those of you who are from Canada, you would have known him. He was the real estate investor of the year, probably 5-6 years ago. He passed away in his 30s. Had just a rare form of cancer, hit him fast, was gone. But was literally at our 3 days to cash in Calgary, same weekend. Actually, I know exactly when I met him. So I met him same day I met my husband, because he stood in the front row and stalked me that day. So I met Stefan Arnio in January 2015. And by 16, he was a millionaire. By 17, he was the real estate investor of Canada. And just like Mark Laurie, who was the photographer of Canada. Like Canada has a different kind of award system, but I mean, we have some of the best of the best of the best chiros, best functional medicine doctors, best, because our people just move, right? Because they do what we say to do. But Stefan came to 3 days to cash. He was an investor and kind of worked for a different company, sort of like I was with Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I said, why aren't you, you're ready? Write a Millionaire Maker book on a real estate millionaire in Canada. And so he pre-sold, 20, 30 copies. And by the second day, he's like, this is pretty easy. I can keep selling my books. I said, oh, let's ratchet it up. Why don't you sell a workshop for $3,000? He looked at me and said, I've never done a workshop. I said, I looked around the room and I said, do you think we know how to do workshops? We've done this for 20 years. Let us help you do a workshop. So he's like, all right, well, okay. So he sold workshops that he'd never designed before. He just said, I'm going to promise you the most amazing 3 days for $3,000. And shit, the kid made $24,000 in less than 3 days, selling pre-orders of a book and a workshop that has never been made up. And then you talk about commitment. He was committed. Like, we have to get going now. So he immediately, of course, joined our coaching and mentoring. So then we taught him how to do his workshop, super successful, taught him how to upsell a workshop, because then he went to a $10,000 product. And again, he said, I don't have one. I said, you're going to sell it, then we'll build it. Yep. So a lot of you have to get like you don't think Apple or Samsung, people just sit around with all these computers waiting to be dusted off. Right? It's the same. If you really think about the most successful companies, you buy it, you go to Amazon and you pre-order, you buy the stuff, they'll go find the stuff and they send you the stuff. So stop thinking like an employee as like in an entrepreneurial world. You're going to ask people, what do you want? They're going to tell you. They're going to say, well, this is the problem I have. And you're going to say, well, I'm the solution. This is common sense terms, right? What problem do you have, Thomas? Perfect. My name's Loral. I'm the solution. This is what it costs. Can we start today? I need your credit card, PayPal, Zelle, how do you ever want to pay? How do you want to pay me? Let's go. Come on. We got to get started. I'm going to solve your problem. Right. So now you're in a service energy of asking what the problem is, going to solve it, making money. When you get enough money, then you go build the thing to solve the problem. So don't promise immediate delivery if you haven't built it. So right. Say in 30 days or whatever time frame, we'll coach you on what we know you can get done. Some of you think a book's going to take a year. We can do a book in 2 days. I mean, you can too. You just don't know how. But pre-orders are critical. Pre-orders will launch you rich. You'll keep cash flow. Deposits are the next thing. So for bigger tickets, maybe somebody could only put down, let's just happen. So say, our big table right now on the event price, which you'll learn more about it later today and tomorrow, it's 30. It's normally 35. When you buy during this event, it's 30, right? That's what you're going to get. So if you say, well, I can put 5,000 down today, and then I can pay you another 25, next week. As long as there's a contract, right, then you can count the whole 30 as coming cash flow because you've contracted it. So that's why it says deposits with contracts. So say Thomas has a $6,000 thing and he's willing to take $1,000 a month payments, as long as he contracts the cash and then takes 1,000 and calls the client right before they run their card or takes the payment, then you count the money, then you know it's coming. I've done this with hair salons. My mom, probably one of my most creative was an auto detailer in San Diego. And they were only charging by car. And I said, no, give somebody, there were 2 people in the room and I knew they would do it. So I set it up a little bit. I said, there are 2 people who have Porsches. They were a husband and wife team because I helped make a millionaire. So they got a black and white Porsche each to be millionaires. And I said, I guarantee you they would spend, instead of $330 per car per month, charge them like $280 and get the whole amount up front. So you can surge some cash to get new equipment. He's like, well, they won't do it. I said, now here's the thing, write this down. This is $1 trillion problem. If you do not offer it, they will not just buy it. It is not the customer's creativity that's going to come up with the offer. And I said, if you don't offer a year contract, and then you can just like run their card every month or get the whole thing up front for a bigger discount. I think that's what we said. It's $300 if you pay per month instead of $330 if you do an annual contract, or it's $280 if you pay the whole thing up front. I don't know. We made up some pricing. And he's like, it's not going to happen. I said, well, then just stay freaking broke, man. Like, I'm trying to help you. So anyway, he didn't do it. He did not win the show because he did not make the most money. And afterwards, I made a point of it. And I said, stand up and give me the offer. I coached him through the talk track because he was stumbling around. I don't ever do this. I said, nobody wants to know you didn't do it. I'm the best car detailer, San Diego, blah, 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 blah. And I'm offering an annual contract. And not only did those 2 people, 2 other people bought. So he could have made over $10,000, $12,000 just by one ask. See, you all have money around you. You're just not thinking creatively, and you don't have good mentoring, like ideas, like, I don't know, throw it out there. If they buy, well, there's your price. If they don't, we'll lower it. If you sell to a whole bunch, raise it. Like, you got to play around with this. And some of you get scared. It's like, oh, I'm failing. Like, relax, have some fun. Like, right. What do people want? Remember, you're serving them. You're solving a problem. What do they want? Go get it for them. Get some money. Go again. Like, don't make it so complicated.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. When and this is more of an advanced topic. We talk about this on Fast Cash. In fact, we're talking about it today, is that sales will get a lot easier when you have automated marketing with Steve and the team in place, because you're not living and dying on each sales call. You'll know that there's the next call you've got in an hour or 2 hours or 3 hours. And so your energy gets a lot easier on all of that. And you're able to serve people because you're just relaxed, right? When you change your mindset around money and you expect it to come freely like Loral does, life does get a lot easier in that regard.
Yep. Let's go to the next slide. So one of the things, like this is just a principle we're teach all of you, is to stop selling and start serving. So there's not only an energetic difference. I'd say